arrival of the heavyweights getting ready for our first fight of the night, and Gaines against Wooden. You can see the numbers, so we've got some big knockout power early on. Let's go upstairs. The ring announcer, here's Mark Hero.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee, as Cedric Kushner Promotions and in association with Big Fights Promotions and Corona Beer, La Cerveza Más Fina presents the Heavyweight Explosion. Tonight's bouts are under the auspices of the Tennessee State Athletic Commission. The chairman is Mike Glenn. The administrator in attendance is Tommy Patrick. This is your first bout of the evening. It is scheduled for 10 rounds in the heavyweight division. Your referee for this event from Raleigh, North Carolina, Bill Clancy. Introducing now the principals first in the blue corner to my left, wearing the black trunks with gold trim. He weighs in at 221 pounds. His professional record reads 17 victories, 4 defeats. He has 11 wins coming by way of knockout. He hails from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Here is Jazzy Jeff Wooden. His opponent in the red corner, wearing the black trunks, weighing 281 pounds. His professional record, 13 victories, 3 defeats, 11 knockouts. He hails from Knoxville, Tennessee. Here is James Gaines. 10 rounds heavyweights.
All right, gentlemen, went over the rules in the locker room. I expect you to obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Jeff, any questions? James, any questions? Touch gloves, good luck. 10 rounds.
We had talked about the great knockout power in our heavyweight explosion tonight. Both these guys with 11 knockouts apiece. And again, the national television exposure has vaulted them into a showdown tonight. And Bob, you alluded to the styles will make this a very good fight. I don't anticipate a lot of feeling out early on between these two guys.
No, you know, these guys, although they're pretty good punchers in the heavyweight division and they got a lot of beef in there, both guys got real good beards, and I honestly don't think that we're looking at a knockout certainly early in this fight. We've got James Gaines. I think he boxes like a praying mantis, and obviously Jazzy Jeff Wooden, who's a southpaw and a cutie. It's a good fight. Gaines, obviously the big man, 280 pounds from down the road in Knoxville, but Wooden, a multifaceted fighter. I've seen him go on the inside and work guys over to the body. He's a real good body puncher, but he can also box from the outside. He's got a very quick, experienced right jab that he uses, and I think with James Gaines here today, he's going to stick to the boxing and try to be the quicker of the two of them. But James Gaines, for a big man's got a lot of quick to him too, and I think that's what makes for a real good matchup here.
6'6" in James Gaines. I indicated on our open 300 pounds. Keep in mind he weighed 281 at the weigh-in. That was yesterday. He'll probably be 300 as he steps into the ring tonight with a minute gone in round 1 of a scheduled 10-rounder. Wooden definitely will be the attacker here. As you can see, he's going to try to get in and get out of the way. Gaines, as you pointed out, actually showed some pretty good quickness a moment ago in throwing some punches and moving around a little.
Oh, for a big guy, James Gaines has got real quick hands, and he's got to move those hands. Wooden's going to try to, pick his shots, and build up a nice point-scoring lead on big man James Gaines. But Gaines has got to counter that, and he can't look for one punch with Wooden because Wooden isn't prone to getting knocked out. He's only been stopped the one time in a sensational fight with Hassan Rahman.
Gaines has been a pro for 5 years, Wooden for 3. And again, the records, good ones, 13-3 for Gaines, 17-4 for Wooden. Wooden, by the way, has been working with Andrew Baker since he was a young amateur, and we'll talk about some accomplishments in a moment. Right now, Al Smith and Arnie Rosenthal will work in Wooden corner. On the side, Stinson Easley, along with a former outstanding boxer and tremendous fighter himself, Dwight Pratchett, will be in that corner tonight.
See, Wooden's going to take that until Gaines takes it away from him. He's working that right jab and that straight left hand to the body. And now you see Gaines counter it right there for the first time, really, while he's down there. Use that quick hook to counter the shot. That's what he's got to do. He can't give that to Wooden. Wooden will take it all night.
Bob, you looked at that right hand. He turned that over pretty nicely for Gaines that time. Wooden just barely got out of the way.
And Wooden's using the whole ring. He's moving around, and what Gaines wants to do is kind of wrestle a little bit. you know, get this little quick guy and put some weight on him a little bit for a few rounds and slow him down. He can't just let him jump all around there like a bumblebee and pick his shots.
Gaines, as Bob pointed out, coming off a huge win, a 6-round knockout on national television against Terrence Lewis. He weighed 287 that night, 281 tonight, trying to throw his weight around in round 1. From Nashville, Tennessee, this is the heavyweight explosion as we head for round 2. Tonight's co-feature, James Gaines in the solid black against Jeff Jazzy Wooden in the black and the gold. Sam Smith along with Bob Spagnola. Delighted you could join us on the Cedric Kushner Sports Network tonight. Good solid first round. We saw a lot of different ways to try to attack in that first round, Bob. Wooden trying to sneak underneath. Gaines, of course, trying to counter off of that attack. And a pretty good combination by the big fella. Wooden coming back and hot-shotting on Gaines.
Jeff Wooden is anything. He's a very willing participant in these fights. You know, he's a guy that's not afraid to step into the zone, the other guy's punching range. You see him right in there, beat the big man to the punch, and he will do that all night if James Gaines leaves it for him. I gave the first round to Wooden easily, landed many more punches than James Gaines, and James Gaines he's got to make this his fight. He can't sit here and try to match quickness with Jeff Wooden, even though he's quick for a guy his size. Wooden's got the speed on him.
Bob,
as you can see.
Being in the heavyweight division, being a southpaw, you're fighting one maybe the first time in a while. Is that any different? Any problem in the heavyweight explosion?
Oh, it absolutely is different and a problem. And, you know, you're sitting there and, you know, as many times you might have fought southpaws in the amateurs or whatever, but Wooden shows you a lot of stuff. He's a very cute kid. He's not predictable by any means. He can punch to the body very well, but he's also got a great jab from the outside, and he'll see him pick that 1-2 right there, and Gaines is right there to be hit, even though Gaines has got the reach advantage on Wooden. Wooden's a hard guy to fight, and he's on a lot of guys' lists of not to mess with.
Gaines hasn't been able to put Wooden on the end of that left jab, and you can see what Wooden does. When he's not kept away, he gets inside and does some work. Gaines trying to push and shove him away to get some punching power. Wooden, by the way, an excellent amateur with a record of 75-8. Also was in the Olympic Festival in 1993 where he won the gold and was a guy that many felt was going to have an opportunity to go a long way in the amateurs. He did, and now as a pro, he's trying to live up to the billing with a 17-4 record.
He's not a real big heavyweight, Jeff Wooden, and he's not a big puncher naturally, but he's a smooth operator. Got a lot of quick to him, and his intangibles are very solid. Arnie Rosenthal and Al Smith have done a real good job working with him, and right now he owns James Gaines. He's just doing everything he wants to right here in this fight, and it's not, you know, the pace of this is definitely favoring Wooden.
We made mention at the start of the fight, you never have to really question the conditioning of Jeff Wooden. He trains in the Fort Bragg, North Carolina area over in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and gets a lot of military sparring partners, so he definitely has to stay in shape or he gets his block knocked off. He's trying to knock the block off of Gaines as we near the end of round 2. Round 3 is coming out is Jeff Jazzy Wooden, fighting out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, fighting against James Gaines from down the road in Knoxville, here at the Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee. A couple of fighters that have already had their notoriety on some national TV. Wooden, as a matter of fact, has appeared not only on USA, also here on the Cedric Kushner Sports Network, but also on ESPN. And has acquitted himself quite well in all 3 of those appearances. Here's Gaines. Big punch. Wooden comes right back with a good left hand. Gaines trying to fight him off. Gaines clearly marked with some blood streaming. Most of that, I believe, Bob, is coming from the nose, isn't it?
Yeah, the nose or the mouth, I can't really tell. But see, what Wooden's doing here is he's picking his spot, Sam. When he wants to fight, he's in there exchanging punches, and when he doesn't, he's on the outside. He's setting the pace of this fight, and it's got James Gaines in out of his rhythm right here. Although you see Gaines doing, that's what James Gaines wants to do. You're the bigger, stronger man. Push this guy back, put him on the ropes, and work him over.
Also use that reach advantage and the elbows to kind of lock him in, which he did a moment ago. And Wooden paid for it, getting trapped on the ropes. This is where Wooden wants to fight this fight. It's out here in the middle, not on the ropes. And there's Gaines trying to force him against the ropes.
Now James Gaines is having his time. This is what he wants to do. Work this guy over there.
Big right hand by Gaines. Another right hand. Wooden comes back with some body shots and finally steps out of there. Oh my, did he take a pounding on the ropes to Jeff Wooden.
And now the fight is broken out here.
Well, he used the elbows a moment ago to lock Wooden in. This time he throws an elbow and is warned by Bill Clancy, the referee. Gaines trying to push him towards the ropes again.
Now, if Wooden's going to rest in there, then he's going to be in trouble. He cannot rest in there. He's got to get now, you know, he's letting Big James Gaines do his thing now. He's laying right in front of him. If he doesn't have 10 rounds of movement in him, then he's going to have some trouble from James Gaines, because as you can see, Gaines can move his hands for a big man.
And the big guy will stay in front of you all night.
A fight has broken out here, Sam. After 2 rounds of Jeff Wooden running this thing, James Gaines is right back in this fight.
Gaines set a 29-3 record as an amateur, winning the Silver Gloves Award, and has turned pro with a 13-3 mark. And now, with 20 seconds left to go in the 3rd round, he seems to be trying to get himself back into this fight with Wooden. Wooden retaliating with a good left-right combination and sticking that right jab right in Gaines's face. They battle through 3, and this is anybody's fight tonight on the Explosion. After a solid 3rd round, we begin the 4th round of the Heavyweight Explosion, a 10-rounder. James Gaines on the left. He picks right up where he left off against Jeff Wooden in the 3rd and comes right at him again. Big James with his back to you. Wooden with the black and the gold stripes. Wooden controlled round 1, but after that, it turned right in after a good, solid 2nd round by Wooden. The Gaines, as Bob pointed out, making a fight out of it.
As long as Jeff Wooden is using his quickness and burning energy, he's winning this fight. But when he tries to rest, James Gaines is going to be right there. And he knows now, James Gaines knows now, and his corner knows that Wooden can't go all night like that, like he did in the first couple rounds. And that's given him a good degree of confidence. And James Gaines started this round just trying to pressure Wooden, just shorten up the distance at all times, keep his hands moving. Don't let this guy rest, because when Wooden tries to rest, that's when James Gaines is going to get his.
Gaines again trying to get that long right hand in. Gaines, by the way, won 12 straight fights, then lost 3 straight by knockout, including a loss to Obed Sullivan and also to Larry Donald. He actually lost that in 10.
Those were by decision. He's never been knocked out.
I'm sorry, you're right. 12 round by Obed Sullivan. You're right.
He takes a tremendous shot. You know, you look at a guy like Gaines, everybody figures I'll hit him in the body and he'll go. And Obed Sullivan landed some tremendous body punches on Gaines. And a lot of these fights, all the losses that Gaines had, with the exception of Abdeen, were taken on short notice. But he comes to fight. He's, well, even though he doesn't look like, you know, he's a stealth wide body, he comes to fight. He's got a lot of heart, and he gives it everything all the time. You can't be fooled by his physique, Sam.
You'd almost would look at this fight and think to the Larry Donald fight, because on that particular night, Gaines weighed 318 pounds. And Donald, not a large heavyweight by any stretch, just slightly larger than the man here tonight in Jeff Wooden. But 318 pounds for Gaines in the night he lost in 10 to Larry Donald. That coming less than a year ago in December of 1996. Wooden still trying to pack away inside, but Gaines backing up, trying to chip that right hand in there strongly.
Good work by both men. This is a close round. Somebody's going to win this round at the end here. Let's see who it is.
This is your traditional steal the round part, the last 30 seconds.
And Woody just picking those short little shots, and they're not hard, but he's just picking his little punches. But Gaines getting off well at the end of this round, too.
Wooden trying to throw a long lead right as he was on his way out. Good left hand by Wooden, slipping it in, and then goes right back to the midsection of the big guy Gaines as they rumble to the end of 4. Well, a great shot as you see a Municipal Auditorium here in Nashville, Tennessee, and the Explosion picks right up where it left off in the 4th. James Gaines rumbling here with Jeff Wooden. And Gaines starting to get some big punches in. In the corner between rounds, Jeff Wooden's corner said to try to get your head as close to that right shoulder as you can to kind of take away that right hand. That's a dangerous thing to do, though, isn't it, Bob?
Well, he just wants him to be aware of where his head is, take it out and put it on the other side. Here we see Wooden, getting off with good right jabs, and then James Gaines countering with a straight right hand to offset that. But good combination by Wooden. Here comes Gaines. It's give and take here. Oh, nice hook by James Gaines there. Seemed to have slowed up Wooden a little bit. Jeff Wooden's a good fighter, and so is James Gaines. This is, these guys, they got a lot of, as I said before, Wooden's coming off a loss, and Gaines coming off the biggest win of his career, but the guy that wins this fight's going to be right on line for some good things in the heavyweight division. Both of them know it. Both of them are well prepared.
By the way, these two fighters together had 22 knockouts coming to the fight tonight. 14 of those came inside the first 3 rounds. So you see they've already reached a plateau that many thought that they might go down in, but they're still battling away in the 5th round.
Those fights were, wins up here in Tennessee for Gaines and wins in North Carolina for Wooden. When they've stepped it up and gotten in with top caliber fighters, they don't really have that kind of punching power, neither man, but they definitely have staying power and boxing ability. Both of them can win a fight against the top fighter. Look at them. They're both in there getting there, Sam. Gaines is getting his in this round. Wooden's had some real good rounds. This is very important, this round, because Gaines is getting back in this fight. Wooden has got to try to stop him as he knocks Gaines' mouthpiece halfway across the ring. But here comes Gaines. This round is very pivotal because if Gaines gets in here and gets this, you're nearly at an even situation in the fight, and the momentum has swayed in James Gaines' favor.
They stop the clock with 52 seconds left to go in the round to replace the mouthpiece. An excellent rule. If it's not in effect around the world, it should be. They put it back in. The time resumes. 51 seconds left to go in the round. Gaines has the mouthpiece back in, and again, he was still taking some shots inside from Wooden, but was able to throw some of his own before the mouthpiece was dislodged.
James Gaines' work rate, see, because Wooden's laying in there with him, and he's right there to be hit by Gaines. He's not having the success that he had early when Wooden isn't picking his spots right now. He's laying right in there. He's exchanging punches, and he's still right in this fight, but this isn't really where he wants to be. He wants to be on the outside where he was early in this fight. He doesn't want to be in there with this big man leaning on him and exchanging punches with this man, because you can see with James Gaines, he's not a tremendous puncher, but he will move his hands. Both guys exchanging punches. Excellent heavyweight matchup here.
The heavyweight explosion brought to you by Cedric Kushner Promotion comes to you from Nashville, Tennessee tonight. James Gaines in the solid black and Wooden in the black and the gold. Sam Smith along with Bob Spagnuolo as we greet you once again here tonight on the heavyweight explosion. Again, Gaines, even though he took some pretty good shots as we saw on the replay in between rounds, still threw a lot of damaging punches of his own in that last round, Bob.
Pivotal point in the fight. See Wooden moving around a little bit. When Wooden moves around, picks his spots, comes in, he's winning this fight. But when he lets James Gaines shorten that distance on him, he's going to have trouble.
Yeah, you made mention that Wooden went down to Rockman in a fight in July. Also went down to Everton Davis in 4 rounds in June of 1996. He's been knocked out a couple of times in his early career.
But, I mean, in the Davis fight, he was winning it. He had Davis on the deck. Davis hurt him with a shot, and it was kind of a quick stoppage out in Vegas. But Wooden's got a real good chin, and the thing about him is he's been down a few times, but he gets up fighting.
Well, you know if you're going to be in a fight with Gaines, you remember the old saying, no pain, no gain? Well, if you have no pain, it's no gains, because he's not doing any damage, and he has to try to win this fight tonight. And Wooden, I'm sure, has felt the big punches of Gaines, but he's still in there in the 6th round.
This referee seems to be a little bit more interested in James Gaines' tactics than Jeff Wooden's. Both guys are fighting a rough fight on the inside, but he so far only had warnings for James Gaines. It's kind of funny that they got a North Carolina referee in this fight, Sam.
Tennessee and North Carolina. You are interested. Wooden again trying to throw the combinations. You know, Gaines just seems to take those and then just pushes him off, and here he comes.
And then he comes back with his.
Again, warned a couple of times for the elbow. There you see a big right hand. Another one. He feeds it right in the face of Wooden.
Jeff Wooden's still right in this fight, but he's not doing what Al Smith and his corner wants him to do. They don't really want him in here. This is the only place Gaines can compete with Wooden, right here on the inside. But whether or not Jeff just doesn't have it now, just to step around, just to break it again, just to set up again. That's what Wooden should be doing. But when you're in there with a guy as big as James Gaines, who does cut the ring off well, sometimes it's easier said than done.
Toughest fight, according to Wooden, in all that he has fought, had to be a 10-round loss to Chris Bird in January of 1996. He said that was the toughest he'd been in, even though he's been in with some good ones. Still spunkily stepping around the ring, trying to get away from the big fella. 281 pounds, James Gaines at the weigh-in last night, probably close to 300 at fight time tonight. Crowd's been well entertained through 6 rounds, and I don't anticipate any less in round 7. A passionate plea by the referee Bill Clancy to G.L. Van Horn, the manager of James Gaines, to watch the elbowing. You didn't want to take away a point, and that would be a devastating point to take away in this fight tonight.
Really, and I promise you, I don't think it's called for at all. James Gaines, look at him. I mean, I describe him as a praying mantis. His elbows are always in. You know, it's both a defensive position and offensive. And Jeff Wooden does a real good job with his forearms and elbows on the inside thing. It's a positioning thing. I don't buy that he's intentionally kind of hurt him. You intentionally use your forearms and elbows on the inside. That's part of infighting. I don't think he's trying to hurt Jeff Wooden with his elbow at all, and I've seen no indication of that whatsoever.
We'll take a good close look at Gaines on the left now. The big key is watch when Gaines starts to throw some punches. Wooden just dives inside, and he's in harm's way. Right down by those elbows. Look how well Gaines turns on that. And now they are setting in the neutral corner. Apparently some tape on the glove of Gaines has come loose. I thought that was going to be a possibility of a point taken away when he stopped that action there for a moment.
I don't buy that at all. I haven't seen any shots that hurt.
Bill, let him win the fight. Whoever wins, wins.
I hear you. Just don't bang him in the balls, baby. Come on.
Both clubs getting the tape, and a continual dialogue going on between Clancy and G.L. Van Horn in the corner.
All right, there we go.
We suddenly have garnered 2 more announcers for tonight's show here, Bob. Time resumes in round 7. Gaines trying to stalk him.
Those breakages in action help Jeff Wooden. He gets good, fresh legs in there and everything. But James Gaines had a very excellent beginning to this round. He started the round with a good straight right hand on Wooden, and he's at it. But here you see Jeff pick his spots. Nice 1-2 to the body right there for him. He's trying to feint Gaines a little bit, get him out of position before he lets go.
That lead right hook by Wooden.
But see, Jeff just doesn't have it in him to use this movement for 3 minutes of the round. That break by the referee helped him more than it helped Gaines.
Wooden pop shotting from the outside and then trying to get away from Gaines. Bob pointed out early on in the fight, Gaines has been in with a lot of tough customers and has been the distance with several, and he will not go away easily. And Wooden is finding that out here, certainly in the 7th round again.
All Wooden here. Ever since the break, James Gaines hasn't gotten anything accomplished. But let's see if that oxygen runs a little bit down and Jeff starts resting a little bit, and then Gaines gets his.
Certainly a fight that has definitely had its ebbs and flows. Gaines again trying to punch from the outside. Now see as Wooden dives in there, he's right.
This is where Gaines has got to work. Gaines cannot. I think he's a little bit worried about the referee. The referee is, benefiting Wooden right now. Every time he breaks him, Gaines works long and hard to get on the inside there, and then when they come in and break him, he's got to start all that hard work all over again.
Now Smith over in the corner of Wooden, encouraging a 1, 2, 3. Round 8 of the heavyweights. This is our co-feature fight of the night. It's been a dandy. James Gaines along with Jeff Wooden. Our main event tonight may be even better. Keith McKnight goes against Phil Jackson. Yes, you have heard those names before, and you may hear more from them after tonight's fight as well. A slapping right hand by Wooden to the body. Wooden not doing what Smith had anticipated, or at least wanted him to, and that, of course, is once he gets inside to try to throw 2 or 3 quick punches.
Now, Gaines starting this round very well. He started the last round very well, but ever since that break for the taping of the hands, he didn't, after that, it was all Wooden. And that, sometimes you break the rhythm, you break the flow of the fight like that, like the referee did, and, it's hard to get back into it.
Big Bill Gaines, James Gaines, got a big taste of what it's all about to be in the pros. He had lost in the amateurs to a gentleman that he knew he could beat by the name of Ed Donaldson. He came back in his second fight as a pro and won a 4-round tough decision over Donaldson. He turned to his corner and said, that's what it's all about. I got to do what I want to do and not let somebody dictate a fight to me. And from that time on, he's been a pretty good one at 13-3.
Now, halfway through this round, I think Gaines is having a very good round here. As we see Wooden get some punches off, but Gaines has been fairly accurate, and he's landed some good right hands on Jeff Wooden. Here you see Jeff land a good straight left hand to the body. Jeff Wooden's a warrior. I mean, he gets in there. It doesn't matter who he's fighting. He's in there. He gives asks for no mercy and gives none.
His 10 rounds, he went with Michael Grant in March of this year on ESPN. Pretty solid fight for him that night against Grant.
Split decision loss to the very highly touted Michael Grant, another giant, 6'6", 240-pound fighter. And a big puncher, too. Gaines can't punch like Michael Grant, but he's probably quicker-handed.
Wooden, by the way, has been on a heavyweight explosion before, winning a 10-round decision over Frankie Swindell. That was on the Cedric Kushner Sports Network, and on USA Today got knocked out, or won a 6-round knockout over Melvin Foster. That coming in October of '96. TV exposure, and he's getting it again tonight.
One of his best performances. He went in what they thought was an even fight, and he just took Melvin Foster apart.
Closing seconds of the 8th round. They'll fight 10 tonight unless there's a stoppage somewhere between here and there. Live for the 9th round. Here they come. Scheduled for 10. Gaines, 281 pounds, stepping into the ring tonight. He circles on the left of your screen. Jeff Wooden with the black and the gold. Bob Spagnola has Wooden just slightly ahead, I believe you said, Bob, on the cards. But again, how the judges score officially at ringside will be known if they finish it for 10.
Wooden, confident, trying to move around. He knows he's got 2 rounds to go, and if he can win these rounds, he's going to win the fight. But Gaines, I think James knows he's got to pick up a little bit of slack here.
Good combinations by Wooden again. He's getting done exactly what he needed to do. Not letting Gaines get off too well, throwing the combinations and bailing out of there.
Wooden's trying to turn Gaines and get him out of position, which would generally work with a big guy like James Gaines, but James is pretty mobile for a guy his size. Pivotal round here, Sam. Still anybody's round. There's a nice right hand by Gaines.
I tell you, Gaines has got a 1-2, and he's landed it successfully all 3 times, but as Wooden is backing out, if he ever catches him just almost on the way out, that could pay dividends.
Both fighters getting in. And look at them both exchanging punches to the body. Gaines backing up Wooden with right hands. This is a very important round. Both fighters know it. They're both letting it all hang out. Gaines getting a little bit the better of it here, though.
Sometimes when you fight a guy like Gaines, with all the weight, kind of flopping around, you say, well, I'll get him in the late rounds. Gaines just doesn't give up.
No,
he just keeps prodding along.
He doesn't give up, and he keeps those punches. And when a big guy like this is leaning on you and you're trying to push him back, it takes an awful lot of energy out of you. And I think a little bit of that's what Jeff Wooden's suffering from here today, because his positioning's been great, but he's just in there with a bigger man.
Wooden pop shotting underneath. Gaines trying to get some room to land the big shot.
And look at these big heavyweights. Look at these big heavyweights going after it.
This is the 9th round. It looks like they're just getting started. Incredibly great opening fight tonight on the Explosion. On paper, it looked good. In the ring, it looks better.
Big round for James Gaines right now. See him leaning on Wooden? That's what Wooden can't have. Wooden's tired. He's suffering from this weight right here. Gaines has got some momentum going here.
Both fighters have almost punched themselves out in the night. They'll regroup for 1 minute and fight the 10th and final round tonight on the Explosion from Nashville. 10th and final round. They'll touch up the gloves. The last friendly gesture these two guys will have for the next 3 minutes. It comes down probably to this round. That's how close it has been. A look at them working again in the closing 3 minutes of a fight.
And let's see who's got it left. Let's see who's got it left. Both corners and floor in there, guys.
Warning to keep the punches up on both sides. Now some tape on Gaines's glove has once again come loose, and they'll stop the clock exactly at 2:20. So 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Still getting some ice out in the other corner while they work on the glove here of James Gaines. And a good point. You know, Gaines lost a little momentum last time this happened. Look at him trying to keep himself in the fight here, Bob.
They really did, and they need to hurry up on that, because all this time is benefiting Jeff Wooden more than James Gaines.
Clock back into action now as we close in on 1 minute deep into the 10th and final round. Wooden exploding for a right hand. Gaines trying to get into the right hand. Still has some trouble with the tape on the right glove. It may be stopped again. Wooden trying to punch and get out. Gaines chasing it.
Jeff Wooden's legs are very heavy right now. You can see him just struggling to get out of the way as he lands a nice combination on big man James Gaines, then turns him out.
Bill Clancy trying to keep those punches up in the closing moments of the fight. I tell you what, it's a good thing the main event guys aren't seeing this, because the pressure would really be on them. McKnight and Jackson have to come out and follow this act.
Both guys have expended so much energy, you can't blame them that this round here, the 10th round, is a little bit slower pace than the rest of the fight, but I think they're going to open up here.
You know, looking at the 10th round, the second, third, and fourth rounds were dogs. This is a great round. Both of them battling with every ounce of energy they still have. Gaines trying to throw the big punch.
Wooden started this round strong, but he's holding for the first time in the fight. He's holding a lot here in this 10th round.
Little bit of cut on the lip of Gaines, and you see Wooden being pushed and shoved against the ropes, and then got a right hand.
Wooden's legs look like they're betraying him here a little bit, Sam.
Gaines really pecking away. Wooden is almost out on his feet, it appears. Gaines trying to put it away in the 10th. Look at Wooden fighting back.
Wooden answering back.
Closing in on a half a minute of the fight. The crowd loving it in Nashville. Wooden stopped in his last fight.
The referee taking his time breaking the fighters here, asking Jeff Wooden if he's all right. Wooden's legs betraying him again here, so he almost slipped and went down there.
Somehow
but he answers
fights.
back. He's pulling in on their reserves. Both guys.
What a fight! What a fight for Nashville. Two gladiators that left nothing in the tank tonight. Jeff Wooden from Fort Bragg in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and James Gaines from nearby Knoxville, Tennessee. And what a night it has been on the heavyweight explosion, and we have just begun. Gaines looking to move his record to 14-3.
Once again for Jazzy Jeff Wooden and James Gaines.
Got that Corona Extra hat already on, and Jeff Wooden looking anxiously from the other side, wanting to know what the decision will be. Bob Spagnola, again, had the fight scored very, very close, but may have given the last round to Gaines, which probably could have turned it in his favor. But again, we are only subjective comments coming from ringside on how this fight has gone on the card of the judges. You can see Wooden getting some blood cleaned away from his mouth and looking at the final round. See Gaines still digging in. They recall the stoppage of the fight momentarily to get some tape. He didn't want that to happen again, as it did earlier, kind of took the momentum away. He came out with fire in his eye. Gaines again, after getting a couple of shots from Wooden, just literally pushing and shoving Wooden and getting him right in his target. And Wooden was almost virtually out right there. His legs were wobbling. He managed somehow to stay up, and what an effort it was in the last 10 seconds as he battled and threw some punches on Gaines and now waits for the outcome of the fight. It is taking a while to gather the cards, which would indicate it is a very close fight. Jeff Wooden, who has been knocked out twice in his career, once in June of '96 and the last time in July, also gets a Corona Extra cap, and he too is ready for the decision. Well, we've got it. Let's go upstairs. Here's Mark Bureau.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a split decision. Judge Richard King scores it 97-96 Wooden. Judge Herman Putman scores it 98-93 Gaines. Judge Jeff Truelove scores it 106-105, all to the winner by split decision, James Gaines.
Well, a tough loss for Wooden. A big win tonight by James Gaines. 97-96 Wooden, 98-93 Gaines, and 106-105. Again, going once again to the scoring here for Gaines. Getting a one-pointer and coming up with it here. Upstairs, Bob Spagnola is waiting with Gaines as we try to get him in position to get some comments on the scoring on the fight tonight and, of course, his win, as they are just about ready upstairs, and Gaines again getting his 14th win against 3 losses. Let's head upstairs. Let's go to Bob Spagnola. Bob?
I'm here with the big man, James Gaines. How you feel?
Pretty good, sir.
It's hard to get anything out of this guy, so this is going to be a tough interview. And I just want to say, this guy turned his career around. He was sitting on the shelf for 6 months after a couple of losses, took a short notice fight with Terrence Lewis, and now he's just beating it in one of the best heavyweight fights I've seen in years. Give us a little something, James.
I just want to say thank you to the Lord, to my family, to everybody sticking near me, my coaches, and all my family. Just want to bless the Lord and hope I see my cousin when I go to hell.
You know, in the heavyweights, we're doing these heavyweight explosion fights, and very seldom do we see it all hang out here. Wooden gave you trouble early with his quickness, but it just seemed like a matter of time before he started to settle down and give you a chance to punch, and when he did, you were right there to take advantage.
Yes, I just kept on trying my hardest. I was a little tired, but I kept on working. I knew I just got to just keep on punching and keep on going and just send him to war, and I know I could take it.
Listen, it was an excellent fight. Both of you guys got nothing to be ashamed of here, and we look forward to seeing you guys back on the explosion soon, James. Back to you, Sam.
Thank you, Bob Spagnola. And the excitement of the moment, of course, we gave you inadvertently a 106-105 score from Mark Bureau. We kind of echoed it a bit, but obviously the 10-round fight, you can't quite get that many. 96-95 was that last card, so it went in a very close split decision going. The James Gaines